We're part of Rhythmation.
And welcome to another exciting episode of the Click Nation's Comic Book Chronicles.
Yay!
I'm your host. Oh, okay, that's what I was waiting on. But thank you. I'm your host, Timm D-O-double-G. Tonight I'm joined by my panel of comic book experts. First up, Agent _70.
What's up? What's up?
And we also have Classic Materia.
Ground wheat, ground out wheat, mini ground, folks. Happy Thursday.
And hopefully tonight we'll be joined by PC and _Dirt. His kids on spring break, and he had to do some fatherly duties, but he said whenever he got done with that, he'd hit us up. So more than likely we'll be adding him to the show in not too distant future. But for now, make sure to tune into our website, theclicknation.com. You can find all the previous Comic Book Chronicle podcast shows, comic book reviews, the Click Nation podcast, and much more. Also follow us on Twitter at theclicknation. Our personal Twitter accounts are mine is, as you see on the screen, thanks to the magic of hanging out toolbots. I'm at Timm DOGG98.
Yeah, I'm at Classic Materia with an ICK for under Classic.
And I'm at Agent _70.
And the Click Nation also has a Facebook fan page you can go and like, facebook.com/theclicknation. Subscribe on YouTube and Stitcher Radio to the Click Nation podcast. Also a YouTube channel you can subscribe to, where after each episode is recorded, I'll upload that to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/theclicknation. We have a Google fan page. Just search for The Click Nation. And there's also a community. The Click Nation community is the name of it. Go ahead and join that also, where we'll be hosting discussions and all sorts of things like that. So with all that out of the way, first question to my panel here. What would you give the rating for this week as far as the releases go? Throwing y'all a curveball.
I don't know. What do you think, Classic? I'm like in the 6 range.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag because I looked at what was coming out this past week, and there were some books or some titles I was kind of up for, excited for, and then some I just was like, oh, it's another issue of that. Okay, I think I mostly bought what I wanted to read, and there were a few that I said, well, let me give this another shot. Let me add this to the the stack of comics, but I think really it came down to like Superior Spider-Man, Deadpool, and the all new X-Men. Those were the ones I was really like. I couldn't wait to open those up for this week. Some others, I could wait a little bit. I did get that 80-page spectacular for Detective Comics.
Oh, nice. What do you think of that?
It's great. Quite a few stories in there. It actually serves as it's Detective Comics number 19, but because of the renumbering, it would have been Detective Comics number 900, which would have made it one of the longest running comic books ever. What still is, if you want to go with the old numbering. But they actually had a story in there called the 900. That was like kind of the main story, and that was pretty cool. And I liked how they connected all the stories throughout. Most of them dealing with the Man-Bat, and Batman having to deal with one of his longtime villains, the Man-Bat. But yeah, I'd say probably somewhere in the 6 or 7 range for me.
Yeah, I mean, I threw out 6 or 7 or 6 at least, because it was better than a decent week. There was definitely that Superior Spider-Man jumping up on my list. I was kind of on the fence about Deadpool. You know, that first 6 issues, you know, I'd been picking up, but the seventh issue I didn't put on my pull list, so I'm kind of curious to see what that's like. You know,
Oh,
where that's gonna go.
yeah. In fact, number 7. I don't know if you got a chance to read it, Tim, but it is hilarious. You know, it's
On
Deadpool.
Superior?
Oh no,
No,
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
Oh,
Deadpool
Deadpool.
number 7.
Yeah, I gave that up.
Actually, this issue is probably worth picking up just for the you know, it's the novelty of it all. Basically, they're retelling an old story. Tony Stark, Iron Man, demon in a bottle, and you know, they basically put Deadpool in that time period to, you know, sort of, well, yeah, I don't know if we're doing reviews now, but they pretty much you know, he made a deal with the demon to try to get Tony Stark to continue to, you know, drink alcohol. You know, try to keep him on the wagon, if you will. Because at the time, Tony was, you know, just kind of laid up in the hotel room with, you know, half of his Iron Man suit on, drunk, and you know, he was going to turn around and come to that realization that, you know, he shouldn't be drinking no more. But but Deadpool was basically assigned to go there and just make sure he kept drinking. And as Deadpool does, he you know, handles it in his own, you know, hilarious way. You know, so
Yes.
I would say that this probably was my pick of the week. I don't know if we do picks of the week, but I actually liked this book this week. You know, it
All
wasn't
right.
it wasn't the dead ex presidents. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that storyline's over, and it wasn't a continuation of Agent Preston taking over half of his consciousness or half of his personality.
Right.
They actually, this was more of a filler story that they kind of dug up, you know, to, you know, kind of fill that gap because I guess they weren't ready for the next issue. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I liked it.
That's good. That's good. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's funny that you bring up the that it's a filler issue because, um, you know, when I was, you know, thinking about dropping this book,
Yeah.
I wanted to see, you know, this one is going to be like kind of the make or break, you know, see how they would transition from that dead president story, which was good, but I felt like it was being dragged on too long. So I wanted, you know, it's funny that they put in kind of a filler issue here,
Yeah.
but
And the great thing about the issue too with the artwork is it's very retro style. You know, down to like the dots on certain panels. In fact, I'll show you one panel here. It's upside down, but basically you'll see like Peter Parker and Flash Thompson, but you notice the dots here.
oh wow,
It's like very 70s, 80s style, you know, like
wow,
early 80s, late 70s style. And then basically what they're trying to say with this issue is they dug this out of the archives from like the early 80s or from the late 70s. And so they were just going to release it now. And so to kind of add to the effect, the little red square is on the top of certain pages. And they actually put, I thought I had damaged the book while reading it because I do that sometimes. You eat this with some like fried chicken or something. You know, I read, I don't collect anymore. So there's like a little wrinkling in the pages that they kind of put into the print of the paper. You know, so it's like they give you that effect that it's
that's funny.
wrinkled or yeah, or it's damaged. Like there's like little coffee
All
stains or
right, all
something.
right. So you're
Yeah,
recommending the book, so I think
I,
I'm gonna pick that up on Sunday.
yeah,
But
it was funny.
I mean, getting back to the overall week, I guess the best way to put it is, you know, I was looking forward to Age of Ultron and Superior. You know, those are the two big books that I wanted to see, you know, things happening. And Superior did some stuff. Age of Ultron, like when, you know, I guess when we get to the review section proper, you know, I got some issues with that. So, you know, that's why basically the reason I'm giving the week a 6 is that, you know, other than those two books, everything else was kind of meh.
Okay. Why don't we now move to news? And first up, we have last week was WonderCon, and I believe Agent 70 has at least the info pulled up for that.
Sure. WonderCon took place this past weekend at in Anaheim, and surprisingly, Marvel Comics did not have a booth according to the coverage. So a lot of the main coverage. Excuse me for a second. Oh, I got to the mute button in time. Um, uh, a lot of the coverage is very DC oriented because a lot of the a lot of the a lot of the official panels were related to DC and some of the other publishers. There was a new 52 panel where they discussed. Well, they had Jim Lee and Scott Snyder discussing some of the things that were going to be happening in the classic. Were you the one that termed this the unfortunately titled Superman Unchained?
Yeah, like that's kind of the name of the book, isn't it? The Superman Unchained or something.
It's the unfortunately titled Superman Unchained. And so what they did was they actually revealed the fold-out poster that's going to be part of the book. It's like Jim Lee art, and it's basically 4 full comic book pages of Superman art that's going to be part of the first issue, I believe, and teasing some of what was going to go on in that. There's a lot of DC stuff here that since I like to quote eclectic, DC stays losing, that I just sort of glossed over. I hate to say it, I sort of glossed over.
I think the biggest news I saw from Wondercon was the announcement from DC that they were going to debut the Earth 2 version of Batman, and they had released the image of it. I mean, I don't read any of the Earth 2, but I think there's only the book Earth 2, and I think World's Finest crosses over into the Earth 2.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't really read them, so it really didn't have any meaning or effect on me.
Yeah, the Earth 2 stuff to me in DC is kind of DC's equivalent to the Ultimate Universe in Marvel.
Is that what they're going for?
I mean, I don't think so, because Earth 2's been around a lot longer.
Right.
That's
no,
where
but in terms of like where like the attitude, like kind of the attitude that they're using, or
yeah, I think so. I mean, I would think so, because it's slightly different, in terms of look and feel, but it's mostly the same heroes and stories, in terms of the core. I'm just liking it very much to the Ultimate Universe. In that the Ultimate Universe is kind of established as the second Earth in Marvel. This would be DC's second Earth. Although you could probably say Ultimate Universe is, Marvel's version of Earth 2.
Right.
To give it that credence, but.
Right. Yeah, like you're right. Since Earth 2 has been around, that was where we were first introduced to characters like the Huntress, and stuff like that.
But I say Earth 2 is the one that's stuck around because DC with the Crisis has had several or infinite numbers of Earths. So.
All right.
And I was gonna say, the Huntress is still in Earth 2 in this universe now too. Also.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're introducing everyone slowly but surely, in the new 52. So, we'll see where, everyone comes up. I know a lot of the fanboys. I don't know if you guys have been reading Flash or not, but I understand that they still haven't reintroduced Wally West.
Nah.
So, I mean, I don't know what's going on.
For the first answer is no. I've been meaning to read Flash, but I haven't. I actually picked up the issue last week to read. And I saw the regular artist didn't do it, so I stopped reading it. So eventually I'll go back and read it from the beginning. But yeah, Wally West isn't around, and people are bitching and complaining about that. And like Donna Troy and there's a spoiler, Cassie or Cassandra Cain or Stephanie Brown. I mean, people are bitching and moaning about these characters not existing in the new 52 yet. But they just launched that universe over a year ago, so they don't have to reintroduce every single character all at the same time.
Right.
Chill out, people.
I think it's just a matter of people, wanting to, they've been so attached to those characters over the years. They just want to know that there's plans for them. Like Marvel would easily say, "Oh yeah, we're going to do something with Moon Knight. Just you wait and see." And then, and now we see him kind of popping back up in Age of Ultron. But we're not getting that assurance from DC. I think they're pretty much saying, "Hey, look, it's a new 52. Like it or leave it." One thing I could comment on is I notice a lot of the DC comics now a lot of issues in the last month or so have had the gatefold covers. Gatefold, when you open it up, it like reveals like kind of the surprise or the shocker in the gatefold.
Right.
You think that's a Jim Lee influence?
It was they just did it for the WTF week or month.
Okay. But
I don't
you
know.
think that was Jim Lee's call? I mean, given his history with
Gatefold covers.
Yeah.
You know what? I kind of like the idea because it being a physical medium still, you do have to kind of flip over and see
Yeah.
what the fold out is, and that's really where the surprise is. I like the idea. I didn't like the branding. Like Tim brought it up, the WTF.
Yeah.
You
Like
know.
this is the Batman one, and then you open it up, and there's all the man bats and what's the 900 and stuff. So it's a cool. I mean, it always works. I'm just kind of wary about how far they're going to take this. Like, are we going to start getting the hologram prism die cut covers?
We're on. Well, what's old is new again. We're on our way back there. Unfortunately,
it is the 90s again. We get the foil covers and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a shame. I can't believe that some of this stuff is coming back. But hopefully they keep it to a minimum. I don't mind it once in a while. And I like the fact that we can joke about it. But if they're doing it every month, it's going to get a little bit.
I don't think it's I don't think it's a every month type thing. This is something they felt like trying to promote their special month, so they went with the WTF. And then when everyone started complaining about kids buying books with WTF on it, and them asking their parents, what does that mean? They decided they had drummed up enough hype with the WTF, so then they could take it off. They decided not to even put it on the covers, but they still had the gate.
I was just referring to just the cover enhancements in general.
Yeah.
Like with the foil covers and embossed covers, like with the Age of Ultron #1, with the gold cover. If we're gonna keep getting that, it's those are bad signs for the industry in general.
No, I think that the wave or the move Marvel does this is the variants. Each issue, and you got your your direct edition and your newsstand edition, and like the variant A, B, C, D. Amazing Spider-Man 700. I saw in the news today. They're coming out with a third printing variant. So they've got a third printing of the book, and then they've got a variant cover of the book, which is I think this probably counts as like the 20th variant of this issue. But basically, it's a take off of the Amazing Spider-Man 400 issue.
Yes.
And David, I don't know if you probably remember that one, where the death of Aunt May.
This one yes, of course.
The tombstone, and on it is Dr. Octopus. Yeah, I saw that and I thought this is so ridiculous. And then I thought I kind of want to buy that, and I thought no, I've got enough copies of this damn book. Screw it.
Yeah, I don't need another copy. No thanks. No
thanks. Something else brought up at Wondercon was when Dan Slott did his panel. He had his laptop hooked up to the monitor or projector, and people got to see his desktop. And he had a bunch of files on there that he was trying to see what needed to be moved off for, secrecy purposes. And there was one, actually, I think there was 2 documents on his desktop for Silver Surfer. So and then he admitted that he was trying to come up with some kind of pitch for a Silver Surfer book, but it was still in just the draft phase, and he admitted to almost being too busy to even do it if it did become true, since he's doing Superior Spider-Man and it's a twice-a-month book. But just something to think about. Since as we'll get into later in the news, the cosmic books are gaining more steam.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And let's see what else we got here. Bruce Timm stepped down as the DC animated producer. Everyone knows Bruce Timm as was that the dramatic sound effect there?
Yeah, is there a bigger boo?
Yeah, it sounded like a boo, but
that seemed kind of lame. Let's see.
But yeah, of course, we all are familiar with Bruce Timm as being the architect of our DC animated television shows like uh, the original Batman animated series and Superman and Justice League Unlimited, uh,
Yeah.
and even the straight to DVD releases. So uh, I forget the name of the guy that's taking his place, but he, I want to say he worked on not Justice, but
Probably Justice League Unlimited.
or
No,
not, was it Batman Beyond, maybe?
Uh, or maybe the current one, Beware the Batman.
No, but they named who it was. I don't have the link on me right now, but let's see. Marvel launches their Infinity or gives information on their Infinity event, and they're billing it as the biggest event of 2013. You think the biggest event of 2013 would be what's currently taking place with the Age of Ultron, but nope, that's not the case.
not at all.
Nope. Apparently, Age of Ultron isn't important because they're just gonna undercut it with yet another event later this year.
Well, the year's still young, so to speak.
So,
That's true.
Age of Ultron is the spring-summer event, and Infinity is the fall event.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of building off everything that Jonathan Hickman's doing in his Avengers and New Avengers run, and dealing with Thanos, who has his own limited series out right now, Thanos Rising from Jason Aaron. And it's basically Thanos, I guess, gathers an army, and the Avengers go off into space to handle them. But then while the Avengers are off in space searching for Thanos attacks Earth,
Right.
while Earth is left undefended. And then humans are going to get involved. They're going to come and help the remaining Earth heroes fight off Thanos. And it looks like it's basically going to sort of kickstart a Inhumans revival. And there was a rumor on Bleeding Cool that Matt Fraction was going to be writing the Inhumans book. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition or not. But what are your opinions on Infinity? Also, what's your thoughts to anyone who's viewing live right now? You can tweet us your thoughts. I'll read them on air.
Yeah, do that. First question I have is, what, at what point are we going to see the Infinity Gauntlet involved? Just given the name of this crossover event, and given what we've last saw with the Infinity Gauntlet, was the gems were shattered
Right.
into bits when Captain America tried to use the gauntlet. So, at what point or how does that play into it, or will it even at all? Because we've had Infinity War and other Infinity Crusade. A lot of those didn't have to do with the actual gauntlet or the Infinity Gems. But they did have to do with like Thanos in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know.
Well, this is all Hickman, and the way I read the announcements is that Infinity is going to be a 6-issue limited series, and like the main tie-ins are going to be the main Avengers book and the new Avengers book.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those are the books that Hickman's handling. So those are going to be the main tie-ins for the book. And I see where all this is going. They're going to be throwing in the new universe characters. They're going to be throwing in all these cosmic characters that they're kind of rebooting or recreating. Like the new Smasher, for instance. I'm jazzed because they've got a nice art lineup for these 6 issues. They have Jim Chung, Jerome Opeña, and Dustin Weaver.
And you've seen all 3 of them in the main Avengers book.
Exactly.
Except minus Jim Chung. And also Jim Chung is drawing the free comic book day
right
issue of it.
Exactly. So I'm jazzed about that. So I'm looking forward to this. I was always a big fan of the recent cosmic stuff with Abnett and Lanning, and I'm glad to see them picking it up and doing something with it. And I hate the fact that I think someone in here teased Space Knights, and I'm like, you know, an old school ROM fan. Classical laugh at this.
Okay.
I'm an old school classic ROM Space Knight fan, and you know they say Space Knights, and I'm like, all the Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm unfamiliar with the Space Knights.
Oh, you know, it's just very quickly. You know, there's probably going to be someone watching live who's going to tweet something about the Space Knights. But the Space Knights were, you know, based off of ROM Space Knight.
Mm-hmm.
He was a toy that was not very good, and the comic, right, that Marvel helped to build. You know, and the story that they helped to build around this particular character outlasted the toy by years. People became fans of the comic and never for once probably saw the toy or like owned the toy or even saw it in the toy store. And basically it's about a race, a planet called Galador, and they have to create space knights to combat the dire wraiths. And you've heard the dire wraiths because that's a Marvel property, and they've kept that going. But they kind of create these cyborg space knights, and Rom is like the greatest of them. And he makes his way to Earth because the dire wraiths, who are kind of, if you remember, was it Secret Invasion? There were dire wraiths involved, along with the Skrulls, if I'm not mistaken. Well, they came to Earth. It was a very, very dire wraith, a very Secret Invasion style story where like they were taking the shape of humans and like infiltrating, you know, the world. And Rom was able to detect them with his technology and start, it's trying to eradicate them from the Earth. So that's, and that spawned like a good 50 issues, I think. You know, so but finally, the license for the characters is still with the toy company, and I think Hasbro owns it now through like a subsidiary. But Marvel has like the rights to the other characters, but they don't have ROM. So anytime they say Space Knights, everyone's like kind of wondering if Marvel's going to be able to get their hands on the ROM intellectual property and bring that back. And they'll probably have all 20 of us ROM fans happy.
All right. Let's see. Dirt says he's checking in to see if we're still going. Let him know we are and see if he still wants in.
Sure. We haven't even gotten to the reviews yet.
Let's send that message to him. And also, if you're watching live and you want to maybe hear us discuss something, make sure to let us know. You can tweet us. You see our Twitter names here on the screen, so send us a tweet, or you can even, if you got the invite to the event, you can leave a message on the event and I'll get that also. Let's see, other news. I just briefly mentioned Guillermo del Toro is working on a Justice League Dark movie. Mm-hmm. And also, I jot these notes down, but I did see it earlier today that they DC Animated released information on the Flashpoint animated movie they plan on releasing later this year. So that was kind of.
Oh, that's supposed to be an animated movie? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Everything's straight to DVD now.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention rest in peace to Carmine Infantino. Passed away, I guess, earlier today. He was 87. The name probably rings a bell to most comic book fans. They'll know him as a longtime artist and the designer of the Silver Age Flash's now iconic red and yellow costume. And he created a bunch of the rogues, including Captain Cold, Mirror Master, Gorilla Grodd, and Captain Boomerang. So he's been in comics for a long, long time.
Okay.
So rest in peace to him.
Indeed. Also to Roger Ebert.
Oh yes. Thumbs down for his passing.
Yeah.
Let's see. DC also introduced a new Batwing in Batwing 19, which came out this week. We can, I guess, briefly. We'll save it for
reviews. Yeah. I actually read that. I was like, I actually read that.
I read it too. And I think we have Doug. Hey, Dirt.
Dirt, how you doing?
Can you hear us? Can't hear you.
Nope.
No,
Negatory.
that's defeat in his face.
Test.
Hey!
Yeah. Welcome to the show.
It's a little weird because you sent me the Google Plus Hangout invitation thing, and my phone started beeping, and my tablet started beeping, and my computer was beeping. Everything started going off at once. I was like, "Oh my God, it's the end of the world!"
Looks
So
like
anyway,
it looks like you're in your end of the world bunker there.
I'm actually upstairs now. I've moved up another level.
I like how every time you're on the show, it's a different location.
Yeah, maybe I'm just gonna mix it up so that the Men in Black can't find me.
Yeah.
That's part of the plan. So yeah, you can see the mess. There's all like the comic boxes are over here off to the side, and then there's all sorts of papers and old computer mice and my guitar and all of that junk just kind of piled up back there in the corner. So yeah, welcome to the junk pile.
Lovely.
Awesome.
We were just doing news.
Yeah, I
And-
heard you guys mentioning Carmine Infantino passed away. That's really sad because he's one of those guys that really helped bring the Silver Age, took the Golden Age, and transformed all those great DC characters, and helped that new generation. And so, he's one of those guys that if it wasn't for him and most of his contemporaries, there probably wouldn't be a DC Comics. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, honestly, I had never heard of him, but I didn't know he.
Hey, how come all you guys have little things across the bottom of your screen there?
Yeah.
I don't.
This is
I
what
don't have
happens
one
when you
of
miss a
those.
show.
That's right.
Man,
Yeah, we uncovered this toy box last week, and
If you look to the left-hand side, where the chat, screen share, capture, and all that, there should be something called Hangout Toolbox you can install.
oh yeah, it's got all your names next to it.
Yeah, click that,
Yeah.
and
you can customize it and stuff.
I think you
And it
can.
needs my
It'll ask you to
permission.
install, and then you can start sort of customizing and adding stuff to it. Promoting while we video.
That's right.
All right, so now I get to play.
Yes, so feel free to play with that. Next bit of news. We were going to say Batwing for when we talked about the comics for this week. Marvel launches Superior Foes of Spider-Man ongoing series. And that's going to be from... I'd click on the link, but I don't want to slow my computer down
Anymore.
anymore. I know that Nick Spencer is writing it, and I forget the name of the artist, but the basis of it is the new Sinister Six with I think Boomerang is going to be the lead character for it, and a bunch of the Boomerang and Rocket Racer or somebody like that. All the villains that Doc Ock Spider-Man has beat up in Superior Spider-Man, they're going to have their own series, sort of focusing on them, milking the Spider-Man franchise a little bit more.
For all it's worth.
Yeah. And along with that, they also announced today that they were going to do Superior Spider-Man Takes on Shadowland,
Right.
where he gets a new costume yet again, and I guess he's going to be taking on the Kingpin.
It's funny that I don't know if you saw the new costume, but the new costume looks a lot like Miles Morales.
Oh, yeah. And what else do I remember from that? Also, I guess the whole month of June or July is going to be Superior Spider-Man month, where they've got sort of big things planned and things that are going to shock everyone even more than the ending of Amazing Spider-Man 700,
Right, we're supposed to be more angry than.
which I wasn't mad at all. Oh, yes. Thank you, Saint Walker191 on Twitter. They also, I had that written down anyway. I just sort of skipped it. The Superior Carnage is also an ongoing book where they're going to follow. Oh, I'm not sure. I can't remember if it's ongoing or a limited series, but it's going to be Superior Carnage following Cleese Cassidy. Oh, yeah. Cleese Cassidy is in jail after the Venom and Scarlet Spider crossover. And the Wizard is going to try to manipulate Carnage and use him just the same way that the United States government is using Venom as Agent Venom. And Black and Nerdy, in regards to Superior Foes of Spider-Man, says, couldn't they find more compelling villains?
They got to save him. They got to save him for, like the regular storylines.
Can't blow your wad.
My question was, I wonder what, because I know in Avenging Spider-Man, Chris Yost he's had Doc Ock sort of stockpiling his former allies in the Sinister Six. Like he has Sandman and one other character.
Electro,
yeah.
He
has them in his hideout. So what exactly does he have planned for them? But I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I have a quick question here for everybody then. Does anybody care about Superior Carnage? Carnage in general?
No. What was it? Minimum Carnage. That was the last I saw of him in that crossover with Venom and the Scarlet Spider, and I really only picked it up because it was Venom and the Scarlet Spider.
I read the Minimum Carnage Alpha, or whatever the first part of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm still trying to read Venom and Scarlet Spider to get caught up to that point. But yeah.
I read the first 3 or 4 chapters of Minimum Carnage and just kind of stopped. I just kind of gave up after a while. I just didn't care and wasn't excited for it. And then they announced this one and still didn't care. I don't know. It's one of those things that I'm sure, they'll send us a review copy of, and I'm sending it right to you, Tim. You get to look at that one.
Oh, it's on Scarlet Carnage?
For the Superior Carnage, yeah.
Superior Carnage, yeah. I'll check it out. At least the first issues. I'll read the first issues to see if it catches my attention enough.
Yeah, I mean, Carnage was a popular character at certain points since the '90s when he was introduced, but I feel like he's been forced. It's too often. In terms of the books and the video games and other medium, they pretty much have tried as much as they could to make Carnage stick, and it's just not working now.
Yeah, he was a product of the times.
Yeah,
and it seems forced, like you said.
I mean, you already got a Venom and a Toxin, and
And I still need to read Venom from this week to see Toxin versus Venom.
I haven't read that either.
Oh,
hey, Tim, did you happen to catch? I'm not nearly on Twitter as much as everyone else, but did you happen to catch like some stuff that Rick Remender got caught up in regarding the stuff that he wrote in Uncanny Avengers last week about Havoc not wanting to use the M word anymore?
We must have talked about that when you left the show last week. Because we talked about it last week. And
was that all over? Did you guys talked about about it all being all over Twitter?
Yeah.
Not so much the Twitter backlash, just kind of our take on on it in terms of what Havoc might be thinking. But yeah, the Twitter backlash. I didn't expect that the fans would have such an outcry about it. It kind of, and I find it kind of funny because it's it's really just one viewpoint, and of several, and with among the mutants, there's always different schools of thought. So we're starting to see that grow and develop. I mean, Havoc has his views, and Cyclops, has his views, as does Wolverine and everyone else. Only difference is Cyclops is always right.
And Remender did give an interview to Newsarama discussing the whole thing.
Right. That's what I read, and that's what I was going off of because this just shows that I only skimmed through last week's episode, listening in to the parts that I missed, but it was kind of interesting to see that how Twitter is that instantaneous review that is accessible to these creators, and Remender even apologized for how he reacted at first, because he tweeted something that maybe didn't that wasn't as clear as it could have been, and it got misinterpreted by a lot of people. So he had to kind of put out an apology in that interview and say, well, this is what I meant, and I didn't mean it to,
I saw the tweet. He was pretty much insulting or dismissive, which I mean, even though he might not agree or the person might seem out of hand, if you're in that kind of position, you don't want to talk down to people that buy your books like that. So I can see why he apologized, but I think he told him to just go jump in a lake or go play.
It says something about drink hobo piss or something.
Yes.
Yeah, hobo piss.
Yes.
Yeah. I was expecting the apology to be apologizing to hobos everywhere. That urinating. Like, I apologize to the hobo community, the pissing community, the piss drinking community.
I mean, just real quickly, like I know that. All I know of the situation is what was on bleedingcool.com. Is just the fact that it happened and there was a dialogue about it, but I never really heard what people said. Were people upset that he had the speech, or I don't understand what the controversy is as far as like why people are freaking out.
Who wants to take it?
My take on it is, people, people's reactions are, the X-Men have worked like for years to bring awareness to mutants and have pride in mutants and and use the word mutant, but it just seems like Havoc's kind of going against that, and they feel like it's out of character for him, which
is it really out of character for Havoc, or does it make sense in the new Uncanny Avengers universe where they're trying to kind of show that mutants are regular people. Yeah. They just have these weird gifts.
I think it was less about the newness of the new Marvel now, and it's more like people were relating like the mutant struggle to like
civil rights.
Yeah, civil rights struggle, and like black people don't want to take away their blackness, and you shouldn't want to take away the mutant word and blah 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 blah.
Right. Like, it's not so much about integration as assimilation, So, the way that Havoc puts it, it's more like assimilating. It's like we're all the same, as opposed to we're all different but still of one, human race. So that it kind of goes against that. That was my understanding of it. So
that's pretty much it.
Did any of you freak out on Twitter about it? Did any of you start tweeting out hate stuff?
I was surprised when I read it. When I was reading the issue, and because I didn't expect him to give that speech. I thought it was going to be, we're working together, but then he started getting to the M word and mutants and everything. And what happens? Lo and behold, they get attacked like immediately thereafter, which doesn't look good. Although it's not a mutant that does the attack. It just doesn't look good. Every time there's a press conference or some public appearance with this team, there's always some like villain attacking them.
Yeah, where's the security at these functions?
Yeah.
Me, I didn't bat an eyelash. I read it. I just zoomed right by it.
I think I read it just expecting, some kind of reaction later on, but not expecting. Maybe I'm still too new to Twitter, Like, I just don't, go there to view my to vent my my frustrations about these things, other than sports related things, So
smart.
You know what I mean?
You're telling me that people freak out on the internet for things that are not super important to the world?
Yeah, if you go on a date that costs more than $200 in total, yes, there will be a problem with the Twitter community.
Let me read some of this feedback on Twitter. Black and Nerdy says, going back to the Spider-Man stuff, the alien symbiotes lost all steam / appeal after that Planet of the Symbiote arc. Saint Walker 191 says, the last book I enjoyed that Carnage was in was New Avengers 2 when Sentry ripped him in half. Good times.
Good times. Good answer.
Black and Nerdy also now is talking about the Remender stuff. I see what Remender was trying to do with Alex, and I wasn't offended when I read it. I also see his point of view as X-Men as an allegory for the outsider outside of the usual minority slash LGBT allegories. Thank you.
I disagree. Wrong. You're wrong.
I mean, what it boils down to is Havoc is still, Alex Summers is still Scott's little brother, and he's lashing out because Scott went one way and he feels he has to go the other way.
He should know his role and shut his mouth. Is what you're saying?
Exactly.
Here's the thing. I sat down this last week and caught up on Uncanny Avengers because it's a book that I'd kind of fallen behind on, and I got to say that reading 4 issues into it, I'm not hooked. Not like Avengers and New Avengers. I'm enjoying those way more. And All New X-Men, love that book. Uncanny Avengers, I'm just not feeling it. I don't know if I'm the only one who's not just, blown away by this, but there's something about the book that I'm reading the story and I don't care that much, and I don't think John Cassidy brought his A game to the artwork. He's done much better work in the past than what he's doing on this, and I'm just going through. Maybe it's just because I don't care about Rogue and Scarlet Witch that much, and it keeps focusing on them. But I don't know. It's just I don't care.
I say my recommendation is I felt the same way. I didn't care anything. I don't care about the Red Skull and him influencing people to all the humans to riot and go crazy and whatnot, and his S-Men. I didn't care about all that. But I do care about him bringing the Apocalypse, introducing these Apocalypse twins and the stuff with coming up with Apocalypse and Kang. I think it's about to get interesting now. And now that they don't have to worry about waiting 2 months for Cassidy to finish one book, I think it's about to start getting good now.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Tim. For me, the book lost all that momentum with that what was it, like a 2-month break in between issues? So
Between 1 and 2.
Yeah, so it lost so much momentum, and I kind of lost track of what was going on in it. So I was kind of, it's kind of funny to hear Dirt mention that. Did you read them all in one shot again?
Yeah.
Dirt, yeah. So it's kind of funny to hear someone read it all in one shot, like basically in a collected form, and say they're not happy with it. I just thought it was because of the 2-month break.
Nope. Sure not.
Yeah, I'm still willing to give it a shot. I'm
not giving up on it. I'm not dumping the book. It's not like this stupid, get away from me. It's just kind of one of those things where, with all the other books, I sat down, I read all of Avengers, I read all of New Avengers, I read Uncanny Avengers, I read all New X-Men. I just sat down and read everything as one big chunk going through, and it was the weakest of all the ones, and it was supposed to be the flagship. It was supposed to be the book.
I was just about to bring that up. They don't mention that as being the flagship anymore.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Nope.
That was the book. In fact, I even like Nova, and I usually hate Jeff Loeb, but
Same here.
I like Nova. There's nothing wrong with that book right now. So
I'm still on the fence.
I think that does it for news. Oh, Black and Nerdy had another statement about Uncanny Avengers. He said, most interesting thing about Uncanny Avengers is Remender finishing up his lingering X-Force plot, in my opinion. That's probably why I'm hyped about it.
I didn't read X-Force, so I don't know what that means.
Yeah, he dealt with Archangel and Apocalypse heavily in his Uncanny X-Force run, and that's when Archangel impregnated Pestilence, and now she's giving birth, so it's dealing with all that stuff. I'd recommend his Uncanny X-Force run. I didn't really care for it too much at the end, but all the Dark Angel stuff.
Right. I think overall it was a good effort. So I think if you can get your hands on the whole run and read it all at once, I think you'll like it.
For Uncanny X-Force.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, when you talk news, did you guys talk about the Star Wars yet?
No.
Oh, well. As it turns out, Dark Horse got the okay from Lucas to go ahead and adapt his original screenplay for Star Wars. And so they're calling it The Star Wars. And it's if you've ever seen like the original concept drawings for Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader and a bunch of those characters, like they're using that style and those look of characters, and they're using that original draft and going back to, you know, all those crazy things that you've, you know, kind of heard about in the past, like, oh, you know, I thought other people were supposed to be related, and I thought they were going to do something else, and blah 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 blah. Well, they finally just here. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick, because I'm trying to do this off of memory, and now I'm just making stuff up to make it sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I saw one of the posters. I saw one of the posters. It's like Luke Starkiller was his original name.
Let's see here. This was announced at Wondercon. It's an 8-issue miniseries called The Star Wars, adapted from the original screenplay draft of the original Star Wars film. It features Anakin Starkiller and his family. Luke Skywalker is a Jedi general. Han Solo is a reptilian alien. The Sith Knights and their Death Star are a menace to the entire galaxy.
Wow.
And if you go, they released a couple pages of concept artwork. So you can kind of see it. There's no lettering or anything, but it's just, you know, the pencils and the colors, and you can see that it looks like that classic Ralph McQuarrie concept artwork. They've got everybody's wearing like headgear and have thick beards and, you know, all the stuff that they didn't actually you know, work into the movie. So it looks interesting, and I'm looking forward to checking that one out.
Okay.
And in fact, it might be one of the last things that Dark Horse does with Star Wars, since Disney and Marvel coagulated into one.
Are in cahoots.
We've all been bamboozled by that, by the way. Anyway.
All right, I think we can get to news, well, not news, but get to the actual comics now. I guess we can start with, since we sort of teased it earlier, we can start with Batwing number 19.
I enjoyed.
The new Batwing was introduced.
You know, when I first read it, I was kind of upset about the changes in the book, you know, and I originally, you know, tweeted out like, I can't believe it, they're changing things. You know, get off my lawn.
Yeah.
But once I actually sat and thought about it and thought about what they're actually doing, and, you know, Batwing was always broken off from the rest of the Bat family. You know, they did Death of the Family, and of course there's no Batwing, even though he's, you know, got his own title and he's part of the Bat books. He's off somewhere. So the idea of a different character taking over the mantle, I thought they wrapped up David's story. You know, if you've been reading Batwing since issue 1, his whole, you know, fighting the corrupt police force and tracking down the serial killer and, you know, all that kind of stuff, I thought that wrapped up nicely. And for a transitional phase of a book to go from one character to another character, I think they handled it just about as classy and as well done as you can to switch between stuff.
Yeah, because they didn't kill him. They sort of left it open where he maybe can contribute in the future as like an aide.
He's still going to be a vigilante. He's still going to go out there and fight these criminal elements, but he has to be his own man. He can't be part of that group. He can't wear someone else's symbol on his chest.
Right.
He's got to be his own person. And so I appreciated that they did that for him.
Yeah, the cover made it seem like he was going to die, you know, and right off the heels of Damian Wayne dying, you know, that probably wouldn't have been a good look. You know, so I kind of like what they did with the story with David, and you know, and well, the introduction of the new. I didn't expect them to reveal it so quickly. You know,
How was it quickly? It was at the end of the book.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I thought that they were just going to introduce the costume and that there was a new Batwing, but I thought that there was going to be a mystery over a few issues. I didn't realize that the last page would just reveal who it was, like right there.
And should we spoil it? Or...
Spoil it.
Spoil it.
So the new Batwing is Luke Fox, aka Lucius Fox's son, who is a MIT graduate and has been doing MMA fighting for the last 4 years.
And apparently, you know, trying to gain Batman's attention this whole time.
So yeah, he's been wanting to, I guess, join up with Batman, and Batman's. So this is something I found kind of contradictory. It's like Batman just lost his son, and now he's gonna employ his best friend's son into this business.
Well, I almost wonder if part of the story is actually going to be him trying to get Batman's attention, saying, use me and make me part of the team, and Batman saying, well, I've got to find somebody new, but I don't want to use you, you know? Or if I use you, your father must never know. You know, so if something happens, then it's never a connection back. Like, I almost think that there's going to be some sort of conflict in bringing him in. It's not just going to be like, oh, hey, you're a really good MMA fighter. Here, have a suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that worked for Barbara Gordon.
She was an MMA fighter?
She was good with her hands.
Yeah. She's got a wicked triangle choke, but...
That's what everybody says.
I know.
But they said, it's gonna be a funny dynamic with Lucius making weapons for this new Batwing, and but he doesn't know that it's his son he's making these weapons for.
I got a kick out of this kind of being a prototype of the Batman Beyond suit.
Yeah.
Like they kind of mentioned like some of the capabilities of it, like with the little bit of camouflage and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if this can fly yet, but I kind of got a kick out of seeing, kind of a prototype of the Batman Beyond suit, being built for this particular character.
Well, and especially since, Lucius Fox Jr. only existed in the Batman Beyond universe before, and now apparently he exists in the New 52.
Yeah. Black Nick Fury.
I didn't know that.
You learned a lot on the comic book Chronicles. So that's Batwing 19.
It wasn't bad for my very first Batwing issue.
I read the very first Batwing. I remember when it first came out, because when the New 52 started, I kind of read a lot of the first number ones. But I'm gonna continue to read it. And shouts out to Justin Gray, who searched his name or searched Batwing and saw my tweet talking about Batwing 19, and we got into a nice little short convo, and then he followed me.
Nice.
Yeah, I have to say that of all the non-Batman, Bat Family books, Batwing is the one that I've actually stuck with. Batwoman, no. Batgirl, I kind of go back and forth. It just kind of depends. But I hated her artsy roommate and all of that kind of stuff, so I kind of skipped over all that stuff. And Nightwing, I tried for a while, but they were doing so much of exactly what was happening in Batman, but they were just doing it to Nightwing that I just kind of got bored with it. And I hate Tim Drake in the New 52 and his stupid bird costume, and so
yeah, his costume is.
Yeah, the feathery wings just don't work for me with that whole thing. Like, when he was Red Robin in the original DC universe, and he had that suit that looked like Batman's suit, just without ears, and with the red chest on it, that looked awesome.
That worked.
I was hoping that they were going to use that, and they didn't. And so, Batwing is just the only one that's outside of the, Batman and Robin, Batman Inc. detective that I've actually stuck with and I've really enjoyed. So again, like I said, when they first, did this change, I was like, "Grr." But then, after I let it settle down a little bit, stopped with all my venomous tweets, and had a chance to reflect, actually, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and they did in the I guess in the interviews leading up to this, talk about this new Batwing will be more global, and you can kind of see that because he can go on missions in Africa, he can go on missions in Europe, he can just kind of trot the globe, especially if it's on Batman Incorporated's dime. We should see him all over the place.
He'll be on an MMA tour.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll be fighting, for whatever their version of the UFC is, and he'll be fighting crime in that neighborhood. Wherever there's a pay-per-view.
Yeah, so then how long until the villain he has to take down is also an MMA fighter and they have to fight in the cage without the benefit of their suits? How long until that showdown happens?
Issue
When they get
26.
sponsorship, right? When they get a sponsorship.
All right, sticking with DC, Action Comics 19 came out, which I just started reading end of last night and then part of this morning, so I'm still into it. But it's the Tony Daniel, Andy Diggle for 3 issues, or actually, I think both of them are only going to be linked to this for 3 issues, and then I think they're both gone. But did anyone read
I
that?
thought Tony Daniel was taking it over by himself.
Well, I know he's, I guess, quote unquote, scripting off of Diggle's plots, but then I also read something saying that he was just staying on for this 3 issue arc and then gone. So I'm kind of confused on it all.
Well, anyway, I thought the issue was okay, but it just didn't seem like, that big a deal. Like, he fights some big robots and then gets infected.
I like the art. And this goes against my, usually if anything's drawn pretty, I'll read it, which it is drawn nicely, so I read it, but it also involves Superman, who I don't care about, so...
Yeah, Superman books just bore me. I have not picked up a Superman book in months, and it's because I see them on the racks, and I go, it's like I get burned every time I do pick one up, because the story just doesn't interest me. I just don't find him to be an interesting hero. Now, I know they just recently did that Hell on Earth crossover, and that had, lasting ramifications for like Superboy and, for the Super family, if you will, but again, not really something that's earth-shattering for the DC universe, I don't think.
It seemed more of a thing for Supergirl and Superboy, and not really a whole lot for him as much. Yeah. But yeah, reading the news real quick, Diggle said that he is leaving. Tony Daniel said that he is using Diggle's scripts, and he's using his notes and outlines, whatever, to finish the scripts through 21, which he's also drawing. But then he's leaving after 21. But that was the plan all along. He was only going to draw it through 21, and Diggle was going to remain on as the writer, and other artists were going to come in. And they were going to rotate artists every 3 or 4 months.
Oh, so they were going to rotate artists, but Diggle was supposed to stay on and
right.
Maybe okay. So they're doing the Marvel thing. Okay.
Yeah. So the change really is just that Diggle left early, because otherwise Tony Daniel was always going to leave. He's got actually another project, a top secret project in the works that's coming up next.
Oh, I love the top secret projects.
I hope it's not Phantom Stranger.
Yeah, because I know nothing about Phantom Stranger, and I don't really want to read that.
That book's getting canceled. That's the next one.
I need to... Well, yeah, whatever he goes to, more than likely I'll read it, because I'm a fan of his. What else from DC came out this week? Green Arrow 19. I have not read it.
Didn't read it.
I read it. I liked it.
It's still going good.
Green Arrow, when it first kicked off in the New 52, was terrible, and it was one of those books that has been hovering around. Is it going to continue? And of course, they want to keep it on because of the TV show, but the sales aren't really that high and whatever. And they brought in Jeff Lemire, and he, kills off everybody, takes away the fortune. Oliver Queen just basically finds himself at the bottom of the hole in the world and is trying to climb his way out, and it's been a really good story. So I think 19 is what just came out, so it's 17 is when the big switch was. 17, 18, 19 has been this story. So if you haven't been reading Green Arrow, just go back to 17 and just start from there. Ignore everything that came before that, because it's all terrible.
Trying to see what else came out from DC. Oh, Green Lantern 19 came out. I haven't read that yet either.
Nope. I read that. It was okay. I mean, I've been trying to read all the Green Lantern stuff that we've been, tasked with reviewing over the past couple of weeks. So I kind of have an understanding of this whole first Lantern that is coming back and kicking everybody's butt. And this is just another step in that, especially with the some character development on for Sinestro. Kind of going back and seeing how things could have gone. That's one of the mechanisms here. The storytelling mechanisms here, like kind of a rolling what if issue. Say, well, what if this happened? So it was interesting. At least from at least with regards to developing Sinestro's backstory and his character. But as far as the crossover goes, I don't know what's going on.
I've been setting aside the issues of Green Lantern, and I have not read them since the annual came out. But it's going to be one of those things where, again, I'm going to sit down in one day, and I'm just going to read the issues of Green Lantern. I'm not going to read Core. I'm not going to read New Guardians. I'm not going to read Red Lanterns. I'm just going to read the main book and see if the story holds up and if it works out. Because if it falls apart because I didn't read those crossovers, then there's a problem, with the way they're doing that story. So we're just going to have to see what happens.
All right. I think that's about at least the stuff I paid attention to from DC. We can touch on Valiant and Harbinger Wars. I'm in the process of reading that. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. This is my first time even reading a Valiant comic, period. So this is their big crossover with all their books. I guess it's involving Bloodshot and I'm trying to think what else do they have. There's Exo Manowar, that's Valiant.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're involved, and it's dealing with psyops and these kids with powers being manipulated by the government, and Bloodshot's hunting them to try to save them, and some guy named Toyo
Harada.
Yes, is like the evil man scheming. But so far, I like it. I'm not sure who's writing it, but I like how they're writing the characters. They're using sort of like real dialogue and real language. They use slang, but it's not in like a lame kind of way.
Yeah.
Like when comic books try to be hip and use slang.
One thing I noticed, I think we've all just gotten spoiled by and learned to appreciate, is that the first page has that like kind of setting the stage notes on it, and I kind of appreciate that.
Yes.
Right, like I kind of appreciate that they took that from Marvel, because it's such a it's such a helpful thing, especially for us who are kind of like not that familiar with Valiant. That's kind of cool that they picked up on that too.
Yeah, I like the diagrams, that are there. It's kind of like, it's kind of like a little PowerPoint presentation,
Yeah.
kind of a primer on Harbinger and on the Valiant universe for anyone that's new, like I am. I kind of like the concept. The story was a little bit much for me to try to follow. For a first issue, I'll probably have to read through this maybe 3 or 4 times over. But I like the presentation, and I'm definitely, going to check out the next issue.
Cool.
Yeah, I got to give myself some time to read this, but I'll go on based on what you guys are saying, is that it's actually a good read. So I'm going to sit down and make my way through that.
And my man Coates Villain on Twitter, I know he's a Valiant fan. For months, he's actually, even before this crossover started, he had sort of been nudging me, saying, "Hey, you need to give Valiant books a chance." So here's my chance.
All right. Him and the other 25 Valiant.
I am going to read
You missed out on me, shouting out the other 20 ROM Space Knight fans. So
Yeah.
I heard a little bit of that ROM. Actually, it was one of those things where I was plugging in all of my equipment and I pulled up the video, and you said something about he's the top Space Knight, and I was like, oh, this is ROM. Turn off the volume, unplug everything.
Oh.
I'm only reading all this other stuff that's not Marvel or DC because there's no Usagi Yojimbo for me to buy.
See, that's the thing. Like, I'm, of course, Marvel stuff I'm going to read. So since I'm hosting a show on comic books, I'm trying to, maneuver my way, read some other stuff. It's just trying to find all the time. Too much out there, man. Too much out there.
I got to pull up my ROM books, man.
Harbinger Wars.
Y'all with their hardcover books.
So did you talk about Detective 900? Did I miss it?
Oh no. Well, we talked about it in the news, didn't we?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you talk about the fact that for being the great anniversary of the 900th issues, it was really kind of a lame story and stupid and not worth the extra money? Did you cover that part of it?
No.
Oh.
You can get that. You can get to that right now.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically they brought in Man Bat for the new 52. They wanted to establish him, and so the big, since this was the 900th issue anniversary, whatever, it's like, what is the mystery of the 900? Well, it turns out the mystery of the 900 is everybody in the 900 block of this street started turning into Man Bats. That was it. And then by the end of the issue, they're all cured.
Yeah.
So it's over. So the mystery of the 900 is they got like 900 of your cents, because if you bought the digital copy, it was $8.99. If you bought the combo pack, if you bought the regular one, it was $7.99. It was a massive, and it was one like regular size story, and then they had like 3 short stories kind of following it, and one of them was just a setup for Bane to attack Talon in an upcoming issue of Talon. There was one giving Man Bat's wife, I guess, is now going to become a woman bat, I guess. Yeah. And Emperor Penguin made a move to steal a bunch of people's money, and like that was it. So it's like I got done with this book, and I'm like, this. Why did I pay extra money for this? This was garbage.
Yeah, I'll give that detective hopefully a read. It's kind of been one of the back books I haven't paid too much attention to.
There's been some good stuff up until now. And if this had been just like a regular issue, if this was like issue 19 as like a regular issue 19, it was a regular price, it was the regular amount of pages, it was just another monthly book, then who cares? It would have been fine. But the fact that this was the special, oversized anniversary 80-page special, it was very disappointing.
So it's extra pages, right?
Yeah, it's extra size. It's like one of those anniversary type issues. 80-page spectacular.
And it's it's got some pinup artwork, which, I mean, I don't know. When I was in junior high, I probably would have ripped some of these out and stuck them in my locker, Mm-hmm. But like nowadays, I see artwork like that, I can Google that. You know what I mean? I can download that as a wallpaper for my desktop. I don't need to pay extra money to have it printed in a book.
And the Mixed Marvel Arts on Twitter says, my biggest complaint about the Detective Comics 19 is that they made Nightwing a total dick. Pun intended.
Oh.
Let's see what else came out this week. I don't think hopefully I haven't forgotten anything else DC that warrants discussion.
DC.
Let's jump into Marvel.
Yay!
Actually, Marvel. We've got Age of Ultron #4. The second biggest event of the year continues. Because Marvel has made it clear that Infinity is the biggest event of the year.
That they have.
And of course we had the surprise of last issue where Vision was found to be the one in Ultron's compound, and he started giving Luke Cage and She-Hulk clues about where Ultron is exactly. I guess we don't really need to spoil that part, but Ultron's not there, let's put it that way. And She-Hulk decides to fight back to allow Luke Cage some time to escape. Stuff happens to her, which was kind of cool.
If you're into that sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, if you're into that sort of thing. And Then we of course see the different heroes scattered across the globe. Somehow, I think I put this in my review. I said somehow they all knew that they needed to make their way to the Savage Land.
And somehow they were all successful.
Yes, successful. You know, the world, there's these Ultron robots that have conquered the entire world and killed Thor and Hulk and all these other heroes, but yet somehow they're able to make their way all the way across the world to the Savage Land in like 7 days or 8 days later, I think they said.
Yeah, all flying along the winds of storm.
Yes,
That
all
made
the
no
way to the
sense.
storm. Halle Berry's storm just glided everyone to the Savage Land.
And Adam Black's about to join the hangout, finally. But yeah, so they all make their way to the Savage Land, and they kind of just
That's not the winds that we need from Storm.
storm. Whoever smelt it dealt it. But so yeah, that was Age of Ultron really to me, as far as what I thought about it. It's kind of, it was like, hey, we've wasted 3 issues. We need to sort of move this plot along to get to this the end of the first act,
Right.
which will happen in issue 5.
Real quick, I know you're into like kind of critiquing the art, Tim. Did you find this issue like with the art was kind of hard to make sense of sometimes? Or maybe it was just me. I mean, there's a couple of like parts where I just couldn't follow from panel to panel what was happening, and that's usually a
one
bad
was
sign.
like that for me.
Okay.
Because it could have been just me reading it on a iPad. That
Right.
kind of confused me. But the first issue, definitely, I had to like when Hawkeye was fighting the owl and whoever else it was.
When he was doing his Daryl impression. I know you don't watch The Walking Dead.
Nope.
Yeah. Although a lot happened in this issue, it seems like this series is starting to just drag on, and this is like one of those issues. This is obviously a big setup issue for another climax that's might take place next issue. But I really didn't see this was more fallout of what happened with them discovering the Vision. As far as the art, I was not clear as to what the hell happened to Taskmaster.
Yeah.
It was not clear.
Oh yeah, that was definitely
When Red Hulk kind of punched through, I don't know what the hell just happened there, but I know he didn't survive it. So
yeah. But yeah, they all knew that they needed to go to Savage Land and do stuff. Are you there, Adam Black?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You want to
How's
add anything
everyone?
to Age of Ultron?
All right.
It was, I agree that it was this issue felt like they had to move the plot up like by 20 to get to some point where we figure out it's a time issue.
Definitely. Let's see. We had Thanos Rising #1 from Jason Aaron and Simeon Bianchi. Or
Yeah,
however you
go ahead and
his
say
name.
that name. Say that name. Let me hear you say that.
Simeon.
Simone.
I
thought it was Simone.
Simon Bianchi.
Bartakamos,
Yeah,
Yes.
new artist for Marvel.
the guy who used to draw Wolverine back in the day.
Don't be ridiculous.
That guy.
Cousin Larry.
I actually like this first introduction issue for Thanos.
I couldn't get past the artwork. Like
I like the
everybody
art.
had regular bodies with big heads. Like I just couldn't. They looked like garbage pail kids to me. I couldn't do it.
Really?
I like the colors.
I thought the art was pretty good. It was the story that I couldn't get. That was killing me.
Classic.
I don't know. Thanos' origin. I was kind of expecting. Well, I mean, this is the first issue, but I'm expecting a little bit more. I think the problem with these origin stories, and I went through this with Wolverine Origins, is you're thinking there's so much to a villain's origin or a badass character's origin, and you see it, it's like, oh, he's just a normal kid like you and me,
Hmm.
But so I
It's
don't
like,
know.
oh, he likes to sit and draw in his sketchbook just like me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But his midichlorian levels are off the charts. And he's really good at pod racing.
Yeah.
And they don't explain. They're just like, oh, he looks like that because it's a mutation. I'm like, you look like a Skrull, a purple Skrull. What is up with that?
Yeah, it looks like a Balchinian. But the thing with the reveal at the end, spoiler, is he a bunch of lizards, end up devouring his friends. And they make it seems like he's the one that did it because he's kind of the weird kid. And
The
he
lone
gets
survivor, yeah.
yeah, he gets convinced by this girl who happens to be there to go and basically take it out on these lizards, and that's kind of his first murderous rampage. He basically kills a bunch of iguanas. So I don't know if that's like what brought Thanos over the deep dark edge. It's not really Anakin Skywalker slaughtering a village of Tusken Raiders, but I'm sure there's more in issue number 2. It's just this just seems very simplistic for someone as grandiose as Thanos. Yeah, no, but I like the artwork and the colors and everything. That's how kids look to me anyway. I don't know. I don't have kids, but to me, they all look like they have big heads and little big-headed children, and and I think it was well written.
Black and Nerdy says, I didn't dig how it seemed like women led Thanos into evil, from his own mom to the weird goth girl. Who was that girl supposed to be? Is that supposed to be Death?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, that might be one of the reveals of the next few issues, and it would make a lot of sense.
And the mixed martial arts Twitter asks just the same thing. Is that girl supposed to be Death? We shall, I guess, have to wait and see. Let's get to a book that I'm sure everyone else enjoyed. All New X-Men number 10. Book of the week. Finally got
I still love the humor. I love just the funny moments that they put in that book.
Yeah.
Where, they took that stupid idea of grabbing the X-Men from the past and bringing them, to the present, where you seem like that's the dumbest thing ever. So they say, okay, well, we got to make it funny to give people a reason to read it, and I love the humor. I
agree.
And damn them and Superior Spider-Man for leaving us with these cliffhangers.
Can older Cyclops be any more of a badass and show any more cojones than he does in this issue?
See, I'm the opposite. I think he's the biggest jerk. Calm down, buddy. You're not the biggest thing in the world.
He's that too, but it's like he's basically gone total heel and doesn't care, and still thinks he's right. And I like the hints that are being dropped that I like the hint that was being dropped that young Cyclops might join up with him. But as Tim said, you get the cliffhanger at the end. Someone does decide to join up with Cyclops' school.
See, I think
besides the Stepford Cuckoos.
Yeah,
I think it's Jean Grey.
That's what I was thinking too.
That would make it the most devastating if she was the one to do it. And I'm sure the implication there is you could still end up being the Phoenix, and that might be a problem. Or technically, you and Scott Summers are married, although you are underage right now.
Yeah, right. There's some statutory right there.
Yeah, statutory time rape. I don't know.
I wonder when they're finally gonna get into the tying all the X-Men into like the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, because I know even before Marvel Now launched, they kept talking about how the Galactic Council of people, they weren't going to be too happy about learning that Jean Grey was back alive. This person that wielded the Phoenix was back. So eventually it's going to start getting into tying into the cosmic stuff, I believe. But for right now, I'm loving the hell out of the different fractions in the X-Men and them trying to recruit from each other.
I mean, granted, this is one of those extra, talky issues. If you skim it, you're gonna see a lot of word balloons and not much action.
Right.
We do see a little bit of action.
Well, the beginning sequence is pretty good. With the faux Wolvie and the X-Men. That first page splash page. Can you imagine how much that would go for? When Immonen is selling the original art for this.
Oh yeah. I might get an extra copy of this and take it to the con and have them sign it or something.
Because that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, you could rip that page out and hang it up in your locker.
Totally.
And Black and Nerdy, going back to the Thanos, says that seems more like a Mephisto's deal with the whole corrupted innocence. Because he was asking if the goth girl is Death, then Death is a jerk. She corrupts him, then treats him like a punk when he's an adult. And I had tweeted him back saying, "That's what I would expect from Death."
Yeah, well, she's been there all that time. She knows more than anything what a sucker he used to be drawing in his art book. I used to always wonder why does Death just string Thanos along like that, and I kind of see why now.
Let's see. Superior Spider-Man number 7, I believe it was. Yep,
Whoa.
7. Some stuff's going down.
Okay, so wait, what happened with the whole Age of Ultron thing? Because the last issue I read of this was an Age of Ultron crossover, and he was in that universe where Ultron had destroyed the world and everything. And as far as I know, that series is still out, and Ultron is still devouring the world. And yet, I turned on, tuned in, plugged in, opened up the latest issue of whatever terminology, and yet everything's fine, and everything's back to normal. So I'm kind of wondering what's going on there.
I'm glad you brought that up because on Comic Book Resources, I believe it was, they did a sit-down chat with Tom Brevoort, the whatever editor, somebody or another at Marvel, and they were answering reader feedback, and someone, of course, the feedback was, how does this stuff relate to Marvel now? Is this in an alternate universe? And he's like, we've said from the beginning that this is happening in the Marvel now. This is happening currently. You see our tie-in books, Fantastic Four, AU number 6, and Superior Spider-Man 6 AU. This is taking place in the here and now. It's like, yeah, is it really? And then he said something like, he said once all these arcs are done, like, he was like, once you sit down and read all the New Avengers and Indestructible Hulks, you'll see where it all ties in together. I'm like, no, it's not going to tie together. You're lying, man. There's no.
It'll tie together when people read it in trade paperbacks. It's not going to tie together.
No one's going to sit down
time.
and read 7 or 8 series after the first year or so these runs are over. No one's going to sit down and read all 8 different books all at one time to see how they all interact together. For one, okay. The Fantastic Four.
Nerd rage. Okay.
Yeah, go on, Tim. Go on.
Usually, honestly, I don't even care about continuity, but hearing these interviews from the people at Marvel saying how stuff, yes, ring the bell, saying how this stuff is all happening now. The Fantastic Four are off in
Nether regions of space, yeah.
Space time somewhere. Reed Richards is in New Avengers now. There's another one that doesn't make any sense. That's the main one, right? Oh, Captain America has spent 11 years or whatever. And I know the time in Dimension Z isn't probably the same as time now. But he's off in some other dimension. And he's in Avengers. He's in Uncanny Avengers. He was in New Avengers. I don't think I'm missing any other book. No, this stuff is not all. Just say our writers are telling the stories they want to tell. Everything's not going to match up seamlessly. And I haven't even touched on Wolverine. So just leave it at that.
Well, because that's the other thing with Fantastic Four is that book is making absolutely no sense on its own, and then they added in that Age of Ultron issue because they're traveling in the far reaches of the galaxy trying to find this cure, and then in the last like issue 5, whatever it is, they go back in time to ancient Rome, and all the Romans speak modern English, which was nice of them, I guess, to learn that while they were there. And then the next issue is Age of Ultron, where they, all the adults have to go back to Earth and leave the kids behind. And then the next issue that's coming out, like next week, I think it is, in that issue, it goes right back to the storyline where they're traveling through space.
Yeah, all the while dying of some kind of cancer.
Right, but it's like the issue before, they travel back in time. Why? No reason. And then they have to go and help out with Age of Ultron. Why? No reason. And then the issue comes out next week. They're back. Why? No reason. It's like that series, when that ever becomes collected in a trade, that's going to be one trade where people sit down to read it and go, this makes absolutely no sense. And, that sucks to be you.
And here's what I don't understand. Ultron is orchestrating all these events from the future. Is this like Terminator, where he goes back in time and screws around with with the present? And if so, how do you prevent that? Are they going to have to go forward in time to prevent him from coming back in time to change and retcon what's happening now so that they can be back in the past, which is the present that we're reading now?
No, it's Back to the Future 2.
I'm just going cross-eyed.
The Ultron who shagged me.
Yes.
Which it actually sadly kind of fits this crossover in many ways.
But Marty, it's your kids, Marty.
Saint Walker 191 says Jean will join with Scott to be a double agent. Look at her face when Logan said they could use man on the inside to spy on Scott's school. Mm-hmm. Possibility.
Hmm.
The Mixed Marvel Arts. Follow them on Twitter at the Mixed Marvel Arts. They have a podcast, and I'm not sure exactly of the URL for it, but maybe he'll tweet it to me.
Does theirs have fart noises?
I don't believe so. He says the Wolverine AU tie-in seems to imply they are going back to the past to kill Hank Pym, though the new series reveals they fail. Oh, there's a Wolverine tie-in, huh? Oh yeah, that's another issue. That's another book I don't really care about. That the adjectiveless Wolverine.
Oh yeah, the new one with the Alan Davis artwork. Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, I like Savage Wolverine. That was pretty good.
That's fun.
I was actually surprised about that.
Yeah, I agree with Adam Black. I was surprised by that. I was surprised that I liked Savage much more than the adjectiveless one.
Although, as far as Wolverine with no other words in the title, what is this, like Volume 7? Volume 12?
Yeah.
Like, how many times have they done that?
There'll be more. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Wolverine would have reached issue 900 by now if they kept it going.
Well, Deadpool did get 900, and then they started counting backwards.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Let's see. Let's see other Marvel books from this week. And anyone read Indestructible Hulk #6?
Yes, I read it.
I haven't. I wasn't really looking forward to what's his name? Walter Simonson's art.
Oh, wait, where's the boo?
I seem to.
Damn, that's an extended boo.
Blasphemy.
Make it rain on me. But I seem to remember liking his art a lot more when I was a kid. Now his art looks weird to me now. Everyone's got everyone's got blocked shoulders. Like everyone's shoulders like they have square shoulders. His art reminds me a lot of very John Romita Jr. ish as far as like everyone's body being sectioned off in square parts.
Wow.
Adam Black, what do you say to that?
That's my brother, but
I know.
Sometimes I wonder if he's adopted. Sometimes I wonder if I'm adopted. Sometimes. But I will have to send a message to Mr. Banff because that is I'm pretty sure that's his favorite Thor artist of all time, Tim.
Simonson?
Yes.
Like I said, I liked him back in the '90s, but like I saw like the
80s
art.
maybe.
I saw one of his he drew an issue of Avengers pre-Marvel now, and I was just like.
Oh boy.
Actually, I remember that. That was a terrible looking issue, and although I think part of it may have been whoever was inking. I think they may have had somebody else inking on top that just didn't know how to handle it. But that did look pretty terrible.
Yeah,
right. I think it was the colors. Because if I remember correctly, it was very dark, so it looked very muddy. The art on this, because it's it's actually very reminiscent of his Thor run, like lots of big science, lots of big action sequences, big explosions, and tall giants and stuff like that, like frost giants. It was all very reminiscent, and the colors were really bright and they popped, and it really made his art shine.
Black and Nerdy says he sees someone on my side. He says I agree. I couldn't buy the Hulk because of the art. It seems dated, perfect for the '80s, but not after Lenil Fu.
Well, here's the thing too, as reading through the issue, you find that they had come upon Thor at a point in time where this was before he even met the Hulk, or it seems the Avengers.
Right.
So they were traveling through dimensions. Initially, and they come to find out they not only traverse dimensions, but they've also traversed time.
Ah.
Right. So the Thor that you see is kind of the old school costume.
Because that's the hip thing now is crossing time and space in Marvel.
Yeah. And then the big reveal at the end, which
Do you want to talk about that? Yeah.
Well, you can kind of get a sense of it from the cover.
Oh, the cover for the next issue too.
Yeah.
The cover for the next issue. But yeah, I mean, I was shocked by that, but overall, I thought that the pacing in the book was really good. I thought Wade was telling the story really well, and like I was saying before, the colors really made Simonson's art pop to me. So it was definitely fun. Oh, definitely a fun read, and like in my top 2 or 3 books this week.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still getting used to seeing Hulk in armor. It's just.
Yeah.
I don't think we got a real good explanation as to why he's wearing armor all the time now.
Yeah,
I don't recall one.
anyone else read? Let's see. There was also Ultimate Comics X-Men 25, Venom 33. Anyone read either books?
I have X-Men to read. I just haven't read it yet.
Anybody?
I read Venom 33. And the cover shows Toxin. There you go. There's Ultimate Comics. Here's the Venom book. Cover shows Toxin about to devour Venom. One of those massive artwork deals. I can spoil this for you without any kind of thought of ruining anyone's surprise by saying that Venom and Toxin do not fight in this issue.
They pulled the WCW swerve, teasing the.
It's one of those deals where Toxin does fight with someone that Venom was tracking down, and we do see Flash sort of have spend a morning in Alcoholics Anonymous. But other than that, you end up seeing Venom and Toxin face off on the last panel to basically set up the next issue where they actually go at it. But it's more of a Flash, coping with being in Philadelphia and trying to chase after this thing. I think he called them. I think it's called what is it called? The figure is what they're calling it. It's some kind of mutated, being that's basically it's got tentacles and lab jars on his back from all these experiments and stuff. So Venom is it's a very sci-fi book. It's one of those deals where if you're used to Spider-Man, this is basically Spider-Man with a lot more sci-fi mixed in.
You talking about Venom?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And where I want to see this go is eventually I'd like to see this tie into the Thunderbolts at some point. Because, he's on that team as well.
I'd like to see Thunderbolts canceled.
Wow.
Because most of his relationships and actions are with the Secret Avengers or the old Secret Avengers. So he's talking to like Hank McCoy, the Beast, and he was talking to Valkyrie in the previous issue. So it's like, how far back is this book supposed to be?
Oh, Marvel continuity. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, Marvel maybe.
It all ties together eventually.
Yeah.
It's just not. It doesn't tie in together with this second largest Marvel event of the year. Remember, it's the second, not the first.
Yeah, and it is written by Cullen Bunn, which I'm sure a lot of people are still not fans of his writing. And let me see if the name escapes me. Declan Shalvey is the artist. It's a little rough, but I think fits this book. But not one of my favorite artists.
Yeah, the art's kind of so-so for me right now. Bunn's a busy guy. He just announced today the end of his Deadpool trilogy. Deadpool kills Deadpool.
He doesn't kill Medea first.
So the Deadpool and whatever this Deadpool kills universe is going on the hunt for all the other Deadpools out there. That includes the Marvel 616 Deadpool, the Deadpool Corps, everyone. And that I think that was announced to come out in July or sometime this summer.
I'll read that. I'll read that twice.
I'll buy that for $1.
I've actually been enjoying the Deadpool Kills guy.
The artist or the writer?
I actually enjoyed
The
Deadpool
book.
Kills the Marvel Universe and the Illustrated.
Oh, the Killstraters are funny.
I tried reading the first one from the Illustrated, and I was just like, I'm just dumping all Deadpool books because they're not important enough for me to keep up with.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion. The opinions expressed there are of Tim Dog 98 and only Tim Dog 98.
Yeah. Well, this is your show.
That's right.
Just because I say they're not important doesn't mean you shouldn't be reading them either.
I'm sure the Twitter fans like Deadpool a lot.
I say this, and Cullen Bunn follows me on Twitter, so
Oh!
I just realized that.
Coming for your ass.
I still support you, Cullen. I like Fearless Defenders. Something I forgot to bring up in news, or if I did, I can't remember. Marvel announced at the end of the second largest event of the year, they're going to be launching Avengers A.I. with, can't have enough books with
Avengers
Avengers in the title. So, what I miss?
Oh, well-placed fart sound effect.
So, we have this book is going to feature Hank Pym, Vision, some Monica Chang, Shield agent who I guess exists in the Ultimate Universe, Doombot, some new character whose name is a female robot whose name I forget, and Ultron's son, whoever that person is.
Right from the Runaways.
Yeah, from
Son
the
of
Runaways.
Ultron.
Right. So they could have called this like the Robo Avengers, but I'm surprised that they didn't follow. Well, I don't know why the Android Human Torch. Yeah, right. Beam me up. I don't know why the Android Human Torch is in here. Jim Hammond. Last time we saw him was in Secret Avengers. Like at the finale. Like kind of flying off or walking off into the sunset.
They might recruit some androids along the way. I don't know why they have an android team, but I'm sure Age of Ultron will show us why this team is necessary when we get to the explanation as to what the hell's going on over there.
All right.
So make sure I didn't miss any other news.
Did we do Superior Spidey and I just missed it? Like
we were about to start it and
okay.
we got derailed, but
oh yeah, Superior. I mean, it's the Avengers bring Doc Ock, Spidey in for an intervention.
yeah. Oh, but before that, a familiar face from the '90s returns.
Oh yeah, Cardiac.
Yeah.
I'm all for the return of Cardiac. Obscure.
I think Timm is the only one.
Obscure vigilante. Well, no, it was just it's perfect timing because since I was going through the comic book boxes for MegaCon, I came across the old Amazing Spider-Man issues with Cardiac in it.
Do you have your Cardiac collectible action figure?
I should have had it down here so I could hold the issue up for the camera. But yeah, Cardiac, he's helping people the vigilante way, and Doc Ock don't care about all that. And Peter is trying to gain more control. I noticed there was a visual mistake by Humberto Ramos. Peter's talking about moving his right hand, and they show his left hand moving.
That's an editorial thing. They could have fixed that real quick. Some editor totally dropped the ball on that. He could have said, "Come on, left hand." You know what I'm saying?
And usually I don't pay attention to little mistakes in books, besides like errors in dialogue and like having the same word repeated twice in a row, which I've seen in a lot of books recently.
Yeah, exactly.
Recently, Marvel needs to tie the ship up.
I agree.
But yeah.
We are seeing some progress being made by Ghost Peter, the ghost of Peter Parker, if you will, in terms of he's actually, able to, vocalize and be heard by Spider Octoman.
Spider Octoman.
And control.
That's a good one. I like that.
Along with control muscle movement and everything, so it's becoming more clear as to where this is going, and I think Doc Ock is getting the hint that there is a struggle going on within his brain, and then finding a neurolytic scanner. I thought that was kind of like that was a little bit too ironic, a little too happenstance that would be the thing that he finds in this warehouse full of confiscated materials is Doc Ock's neurolytic scanner, so he can go and scan his own brain now.
And Ramos, he's already been on for 3 issues, so Stegman should be coming back on, I believe, right?
Yeah.
That's probably hoping.
I hate being mean to Ramos, but thankfully so. I mean, I like Ramos's work. It's just, I can only get so much of it.
No, I like Ramos is one of my favorites, but Stegman's the man.
Are you talking this page?
Yeah.
Where he wants him to write on the pad,
Mm-hmm.
and he takes control. That's his right hand.
No, hold on. I might have moved it off my iPad already.
Might have
It's
been
the next
later
page, I believe. Go to the next set of pages.
when he slaps the phone and slaps the
pad off. Yeah.
pad off.
Yeah, when he's trying to slap the pad off, he's like, "Come on, right hand, come on," and it's like he's moving with his left hand or his left arm. Period.
Yeah, come on, right hand. Good old righty.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
his left
It
arm.
does switch hands. Yeah, it does switch hands.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Haha! I noticed something.
You get a no prize.
Yeah, give me my.
Well, you have to explain it. That's how you get a no prize.
I want to know where I can get that Superior Spider-Man app for my iPhone, so that I can get that with the insignia and everything.
It's Android only, so
Oh, screw that.
sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Sucks to be you. And like of course we said, a lot of Spider-Man news coming out with the superior foes of Spider-Man, and this Spider-Man takes on Shadowland and the Superior Spider Month. So a lot of interesting things going on in Spider-Man's realm of the Marvel Universe.
I remember that Deadly Foes of Spider-Man comic book from the 90s. That was pretty good. I actually like that. So I'm
Yeah,
kind of
it was.
interested in that.
That's the actual thing from the
It's-
past.
Yeah, it existed.
Yeah, it was a limited series.
God.
That's your family.
I just read Amazing Spider-Man, thank you, and Spectacular, and all the other Spider-Man.
Oh, Web of. You got to read Web of Spider-Man. But
We've got a couple of web of books upstairs.
there you go. And Sensational. Not
Yeah,
really
Sensational and Spectacular.
The intervention by the Avengers leading up to the next issue and the big knockdown brawl. I like that Spidey threw Captain America. That's like a big show of disrespect, knowing like how much Spidey does respect Captain America. You know, and yeah, but the whole we're gonna give you a physical from top to bottom. Yeah, that's right. You know, it's. I was like, is it really that simple? Because if it was, they could have done this months ago. We wouldn't have even had a superior book. This would have been the amazing 719 or whatever. What issue is this?
Yeah, no, I agree.
707. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out with the next issue. You know, I think it'll just be with Spidey getting kicked out the Avengers because that was the hype that he was going to get fired. But I don't think they're going to fix him at all.
They better not. Because, you know, as regular Amazing Spider-Man, it was like, that was, you know, I read it and it was okay and everything, but since it became Superior, I love it. Like, I don't ever want it to go back.
Yeah, I mean, the only concern I have is is Peter Parker going to finally just be gone, like dead, or is he going to be a ghost forever, or what's going on? Is
Aunt May will die and he'll go into Aunt May's body. So you'll have Peter in Aunt May's body, and then Doc Ock in Peter's body. And then Aunt May's mind will reanimate Uncle Ben's corpse.
We haven't seen her since. Have we seen her yet?
MA?
Yeah, since the first opening arc, 3-issue arc on Superior.
Not since she's been rehabbing her knee or something,
Right.
and hanging out with J. Jonah Sr.
Yeah,
Right, they're
he
up in
showed
Boston or something like that.
Yeah, Baston. They're rooting for the Sox.
Right.
They're watching the
Yeah,
Celtics.
He popped in
Pats.
once real quick and then had to, something popped up on his phone and he jumped out of there. It was a couple issues ago, but they did throw away a little scene there just to show that she's still around.
Rest in peace, Peter Parker.
All right. That's all I had to talk about tonight. Any other books you want to bring up?
The last book I bought for this week was Winter Soldier, of course under Marvel, telling the story of one Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. Since he had died while he was Captain America, he retook the Winter Soldier mantle. This is issue number 17. He's actually on one of those secret covert missions for Nick Fury. I should say White Nick Fury because this is not the Nick Fury that we're seeing in the other Marvel books, but the OG Nick Fury with the eye patch, and the graying temples. But this is the second issue of this arc where he's discovering that someone he killed 30 years earlier on one of his secret missions in the Soviet Union. The organization around that and some of the people are resurfacing, and he's actually found the girl who's the daughter of the person he killed. In fact, he killed her in front of him I mean, he killed him in front of her, so that kind of reveals the last page is kind of what's going to lead to the next issue and some more complicated stuff. A lot of espionage, spy tactics stuff. The art is not that great. Klein does I would say a so-so job on this. I do like the lettering in some cases where because it's in Russian, they do kind of put some of the letters backwards. But other than that, it wasn't a fantastic read. I'm just giving this another chance, because Winter Soldier's a kind of I kind of like the spy espionage action comics, as much as anything else. This isn't a superhero comic by any means. It's just more so, Cold War type stuff.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm looking forward to reading this issue, but a lot, like I was saying before with Deadpool, is like this is kind of it's on the cusp of being cut, from my my monthly collection. I was always jazzed that Brubaker is reinvigorating, Bucky Barnes as a character. And I want to see where this goes, but at the same time, I have this ugly feeling that this is going to be on the chopping block for Marvel, and it's going to be canceled, within the next 5 issues.
Jason Latour is the writer for this, not Brubaker, and that's kind of it's kind of in the same theme. So it's but it's not as good as what Brubaker would be doing.
Do you think they're going to keep it? Yeah, I was about to say, do you think they're going to keep it alive long enough for the Cap movie to come out, or let it go?
I don't know. I don't know if it'll last that long. I honestly, I think that they're just going to try to keep it going so that they can give him something to do. But they might try to end up working him into the Cat book or into another book eventually.
Right.
But the thing is, he's known at large to be dead. Only I think Scarlet Witch and Nick Fury know that he's alive or something. So it's kind of like, you don't want to just integrate him right away into some other book, because then you got to explain to everybody that he didn't die. But I don't know. I would say wait for the trade. To pick up a collection if you don't want to spend the extra money on this.
Yeah. See, I'm already into it like you are. So I've already got I'm up to this point. So I'm just like, do I drop it now or preemptively, or do I wait until it dies?
Yeah.
Or do you just hold on when the movie comes out and they'll just relaunch it as a new #1 issue?
Yeah, right. That's another thing.
I will say that comparatively, he's a lot more interesting of a sidekick, a former sidekick, than reading Nightwing. If that makes sense in terms of Marvel DC.
No, I'm with you on that one.
I agree.
All right, one book that I'll plug here real quick. Issue 1 just came out recently. It's called The Revival. And try to get a shot there of it. You can kind of see the cover. The guy who put this book together, we met at C2E2, I think, like 2 or 3 years ago. And this is like his labor of love, this project that he's been trying to put together for years. And basically he took all the characters from Saturday morning cartoons from the 80s and put them into this world and then totally warped it and distorted it. So basically, there was a guy who called himself the Patriarch, who was this little blue guy who was basically the fascist dictator, and he died and the world went to hell. And so now Strawberry Shortcake, who's only called Red, leads the band of resistance with like Rainbow Bright, and there's like a Care Bear who has no feelings anymore. There are these giant robots that battle in the background. They brought their war to Earth, and everyone's trying to avoid them as they fight each other. You've got this giant mustachioed plumber with a green hat who's mourning the loss of his brother, who's kind of hanging on there. Exactly. And so he just like took all this stuff and kind of mashed it together into this story of resistance and fighting against the dictators, and everything is dirty and everything is gnarly and everything is it's all falling apart and been taped back together, and like the Care Bear guy is missing an ear and has a giant eye patch on because of where he's been hurt in battle, and it's just a fun book. And this is published through Hound Comics. So you can go to houndcomics.com if you want to order it, but then it's also available online. You can order a copy off of Amazon or from Drive-Thru Comics if you want to pick up, a copy that way. So anyway, fun book, first issue out. I enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to see how it continues on.
Hound Comics.
Cool.
And the Mitz Marvel art says, "Oh hell nah, Dick is better than Bucky."
and he's a Marvel guy saying that. Kyle, seriously.
It's all about the originals, the original sidekicks.
Well, Bucky was
Yeah, who's more original than Bucky?
Well, I mean, I say Dick is the first sidekick ever, so goes back to Dick.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying lately, Winter Soldier is a lot better read than Nightwing, in my
opinion. All right, I guess that's a good stopping point for tonight. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to this episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I'm not sure what classic is showing on screen.
I just read this Batman and Son. Since Damian Wayne died, I just read his first appearance in some of the first stories. Him being introduced. I'm starting to go into the trades more often. Shout out to William Bruce West for inspiring that.
Let's give time for everyone to give their plugs for tonight. Agent 70, go first.
All right. You can follow me on Twitter at Agent70, at Agent_70. That's pretty much where I am right now. So let's hope the rest of the year will help me build up a better web presence, just like you guys.
Thank you. Classic Material, you're up next.
You can find me, of course, at the Cold Slither Podcast. That's coldslitherpodcast.com. We host the podcast there. Episode 50 is up as of today, so check it out. I also host Classic Team Up, which is also on the same site, and we do a lot of write-ups and other stuff. Follow me on Twitter, Classic Materia, ClassicMateria. See you later.
Mr. Dirt, if you will.
Yeah. Everybody plugs Twitter and Facebook and MySpace and their websites, whatever. I'm going to plug my PayPal. Just feel free to look me up on PayPal and go ahead and send me $50,000. Thanks. Good night.
Adam Black.
You can follow me on Twitter at _Adam_Black. I usually just tweet one day out of the week, and
it's usually
Mondays.
Next
Monday, responding to Raw. So I'm off on Monday night, so that expect to hear me on talking about Raw, especially after WrestleMania,
which is this Sunday. Which I
yes, sir.
doubt if I'm coming down there for that. By the way.
Okay.
Because
I was going to ask.
I really don't care this year.
Yeah. Cena's going to win anyway.
I'm going to see if I can order it maybe through my TiVo, if that's possible. If not, I'll just stream it. We'll see.
Stream it using nefarious means.
Uh-oh.
Or legal means.
Yeah, stream using legal means, since Vince McMahon might be watching this.
That's right.
Hey, Vince.
So you can watch on there, WWE.com and whatnot.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm gonna watch it, and more than likely we'll be recapping it on Tuesday night on theclicknation.com, or for the Click Nation podcast.
Oh, congratulations to my ex-girlfriend Trish Stratus for making the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And she's being inducted by your other ex-girlfriend, right?
Stephanie McMahon, yes.
Yeah, that's a problem when your exes come together and talk to each other.
Yeah, worlds collide.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch it with my current and just not worry about it.
I'm gonna call her and let her know that you said that those two are your exes.
Hey, just tweet her.
Saint Walker 191 says great show and Dick Grayson greater than Bucky.
Oh damn it! We gotta do a poll or something.
Them's fighting words. I take. I'll be your tag team partner. Classic.
Yeah. No, but see, they're all like Dick Grayson's better. No, Winter Soldier is better than Nightwing. That's what I'm saying.
Oh wait, but are you saying that Winter Soldier is better than Bucky, or is Bucky still better than Winter Soldier?
Winter Soldier. That's it. Nightwing's never killed anybody.
Yeah, but every night on the dance floor he kills it.
He does. With that funky 70s costume. The Teen Titans action.
Mitch Marvel Art said he'll take us on.
All right.
And quick for me, I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Special shout outs to the Mitz Marvel Arts. Follow them on Twitter at the Mitz Marvel Arts. On Twitter, also Saint Walker 191. I'll just say Black and Nerdy because I never know how to say your Twitter name. And who else was watching tonight? I think that was it. Yes, that was it. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back next week, more than likely. If not, you'll know in advance if there won't be a show. But theclicknation.com, tune into that. And you got all the plugs from earlier in the show. So for the Adam Black, Classic Materia, Agent_70, and PCN_Dirt, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. We are signing off.